Kapla!
I'm going to take this opportunity, however, to suggest that we all hail Hiroga. That's all I'm saying.
Forgive me, Doctor. I'm receiving a number of distress calls. I don't doubt it.
Y'all remember to tip your waitresses. Have a mighty fine night.
You come in peace, surrender or be destroyed. Here to make war, we surrender. False word. Important news are leading you people.
When the appointed hour arrives, the Marauders will deactivate their cloaking devices and begin transporting Klingon shock troops directly to the landing zone.
Landing zone? Where? Tell me.
Why not? Your feeble weapons will be useless against us. We will kill all your males and take your females to mate with.
All right. Now the Federation's taking over, whether you like it or not. You people, you've been running this planet like a piecework factory. From now on, it's going to be under one roof. You're going to run it like a business. That means you're going to make a profit.
Look at these 3 words written larger than the rest, with a special pride never written before, or since. Tall words, proudly saying, "We the people."
Hi, I'm Nicole DeBoer. I played Lieutenant Ezri Dax on DS9, and I welcome you to Birdo Prey 5 channel. Hail Karoga.
Hello world, it's Birdo Prey 5, Kapla, and welcome to Bed Life for Friday, January 27th, 2023, aka National Chocolate Cake Day, aka Mama Prey's favorite cake day. I didn't tell you, Mama Prey, because I didn't want you to feel bad, because I know you've been cutting down on your sweets. And if I told you it was chocolate cake day, then you would probably want a chocolate cake to celebrate. And I'm sorry, Mama Ray. We can always order a chocolate cake if you really want it. Yes, Mama Ray's cutting down on the sweets. I didn't want to. But I couldn't hide the fact that it was chocolate cake day either. Because let me tell you, the other options for today, not so great, not so festive. There are a couple. We'll go over them, but not quite the most festive of days today. Not Ryan Johnson was first in the chat. Kapla says hello in Kapla. Hail Karoga. Hail Karoga. And he says on National Chocolate Cake Day, Birdo Prey would end up getting a cake made with white chocolate. The hell you say? No, white chocolate has no place. No place in Karoga. No place in the chocolate. I know there are people out there who enjoy white chocolate, as there are people out there who, for some reason, enjoy Star Trek Discovery. They exist. I'm prepared to understand that they have a right to exist, but I will never say that I'm okay with white chocolate personally. If you're okay with it, that's your choice to make as a human being. Apparently, God gave you such rights. Who am I to argue with him? But in Karoga, white chocolate is not chocolate. Okay, it's, let's face it, it's a different flavor of vanilla at best. Richie Poole says, kapla, Richie. Moxley fan says, hey guys, just came by to say hi. I'm feeling sad today. I miss Dad. Moxley fan, kapla to you. Completely understood, man. I hope you are okay, and I hope you get, not gonna say get well soon, but I hope you get back soon. I hope you can get back soon. Moxley says, kapla, Bird. Hope you and the family are doing well today, as obviously you're not doing so well, but I hope physically you're doing well. Emotionally, Moxley, we're all a wreck. As I've come to that conclusion, that YouTube brings together people who are emotionally a wreck. If we weren't emotionally a wreck, we'd probably be doing something other than YouTube, whether it's watching or creating content or just talking nonsense into cameras and speakers, microphones like myself. There's something about YouTube that pulls us together. Just this morning on Deeja's stream did I realize that I've been sleeping late, not because I've been more tired, but because it just gives me less hours I have to deal with anxiety. I can sleep through the anxiety if I can sleep longer in the day and still go to bed at the same time. That was what I was doing. That was my great plan. Captain Fandom Nerd says hashtag hail on Kuroga. You know what, Captain? Not even gonna argue with it. Moxley fan will be back later. I hope you are, Moxley. And kapla. Miss Lundell's groovy movie, says kapla. Kapla, Mr. Lundell. Mike Richards says greetings from Columbus, Ohio. Greetings, Mike Richards. Yvette says good evening, Bird, and everyone. Good evening, Yvette. 47 Yorktown says hello, young sir. Hello, 47. And thank you. Thank you for continuing to humor me about my age. Hakeem says evening, all. Good evening, Hakeem. John DeMarco says greetings, all. Greetings, John. Uncle Remus says eat, Bruce, eat. Yvette says I'm weird. I don't like chocolate. That is a bit weird, Yvette. Rubber. Rabid Slug Ouchies, aka Kronos, says, is Bird hating on whites? White chocolates? Yes. And Yvette says, yo to the slug. Who says, hey back. Mike Richards says, hey to Sluggo. Says, hey back to Mike. And Rabid Slug says, who got train wrecked? Train wrecked? I mean, here, first I hear. Okay, so way back in the day, back when the very first copy of Hamlet was being transcribed in the original Klingon by the Klingon Language Institute, whatever the F that actually was. I would say this was back in the mid-90s, maybe even before. But somewhere around the mid-90s, I was on the internet. Back in those days, I guess I was using an IRC channel. I mean, there was AOL still had their people connection or whatever they called it for their chat rooms. But I figured out internet relay chat. That was my thing for a while. And various IRC chat rooms, and of course, Usenet message boards. Anyway, I had heard about this Klingon Language Institute, and then there was some other Klingon association that I was not a member of officially, but they had a Usenet message board, and I just thought it was funny. And back in those days, there was still, like I said, it might have been earlier, like the IRA was still a thing, and they would claim responsibility for terror attacks, and there were various Middle Eastern organizations claiming responsibility for terror attacks. And I forget exactly what happened, but yeah. So this would have been the season of Deep Space Nine where the Khitomer Accords were broken, and the Klingons and the Federation were at war again. And so, in real life, a train derailed somewhere in the United States. I think it was a cargo train. It certainly wasn't a passenger train. It wasn't hundreds of people injured or killed. It was a cargo train, like maybe, I don't know. I'm sure somebody probably died. There was a few people injured. And as a joke, granted, I was like 15 or something, but as a joke, I wrote in a post somewhere, I said this was the Klingon Language Association, whatever. I said the KLA claims responsibility for the train derailment as a attack till the Khitomer Accords or whatever reinstated or whatever. I worked in the fact that the Federation had betrayed the Klingons, so this was like a retaliation for it. And I just thought it was funny. And oh my God, did the holier than thou Klingons come after me? It was like my first social media faux pas. Is that what it's called? A faux pas? When you fuck up? Like my first social media fuck up. Every fucking Klingon on Earth started fucking messaging me. How dare you use our name? This is a tragedy. We would never do this. You're making us all look bad. Like, oh my fucking God. I was 15 years old. Grow the fuck up, okay? It was a joke. It was a joke. This wasn't the fucking 9/11, okay? This wasn't 9/11 hadn't even been thought of yet. It wasn't even planned. I don't even know if the first Trade Center bombing had happened. I guess it must have. But I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. Everybody, they just came after. I was like, shut it down. I was like, fuck this. And I didn't go back. I bought the book. The Klingon version of Hamlet. I still have it. Mamo Prey found it. It's the first edition. I think it may be worth something someday, but not yet. But I didn't have any more interactions with those people ever again. As far as I know, I don't know. But I'm sure somebody out there now probably still remembers that. And maybe somebody, but you're that fuck kid who tried to, screw us over. Yeah, it was me. If you remember it, it was me. I was the one who claimed credit for derailing the train in the name of the Klingon Language Institute or whatever. Yeah, that was me. Oh my God. It was so fucking annoying. What were we talking about? How did we get on this tangent? Um, uh, Hating on whites? No. Train wreck. Oh, Rabbit Slug says, who got train wrecked? I don't know. I don't know, Rabbit Slug. I don't know what you're talking about. Captain Fan of Nerds says, hey to Rabbit Slug, ouchies. And Rabbit Slug, ouchies, says he's emotionally erect. Solid answer. 47 Yorktown says, bonjour, Yvette. Can you send the chocolate to me? Rabbit Slug says, hey to Captain. Yvette says, bonjour to 47. Rabbit Slug says he likes dark chocolate, as do I, Rabbit Slug, as do I. Captain Phantom Nerds says, bird of prey, we are all damaged in some way, but coming together can make us stronger. Absolutely. Dan Van says, chocolate cake. Absolutely. Some chocolate cake that even Counselor Troy would enjoy. Rabbit Slug says, be right back. I have a Genesis device to activate. Good for you, Rabbit Slug. I hope they activate it on Earth so that we can replace all of our life with some new matrix. Give some other life a chance, because we effed up. And I don't mean we effed up because we polluted the planet or climate change. We just effed up because of the leaders we voted in and politics. That's where we effed up. And what we care about. Okay, we care too much about stuff that means nothing and don't care about the stuff that actually means something. Dan Ben says, I like dark chocolate with stuff on its own. And Rabbit Slug is asking, where's LDG? He's been busy today, Rabbit Slug. He's actually getting work. He's actually having to work, but he was very happy earlier today, now that he had a couple of very happy customers. Dan Ben says, English. He did get paid, actually. He got paid 2.5 times what he billed, because they were just so happy. Dan Ben says, England, there's a chocolate bar called Cadbury's Bourneville. It's just dark chocolate on its own, and I didn't like it. Well, no worries there, Dan Ben. Yvette says LDG is busy at the moment. And Rabbit Slug says, peeps to college to learn Klingon. Dan Ben says, you're unofficial because they don't want to publicly say you were. Well, I was unofficial because I had no dealings with these people other than rating their posts. Rabbit Slug says, this is where my tax money goes. Dan Ben says it was season 4. I'm not sleep talking, Rabbit Slug. Richie Poole says, where is Kronos? Rabbit Slug says, Pool. Yvette says, hey to Richie. Rabbit Slug, who is Kronos? Says, wow, Bert is spastastic today. What drugs is he on? Jedi Bill says, kapla, kapla, Jedi Bill. John DeMarco says, Klingons do not accept jokes being made at their expense. Apparently not. Apparently not. I really didn't think it was at their expense, though. Rabbit Slug says, Kling orcs are worse. This is true. Dan Ben says, when I was younger in the UK, I remember on the news that Princess Diana died and a news reporter was murdered and 9/11. Those were all separate events, I assume, Dan Ben. Richie Poole says, free Kronos from the vile clutches of Rabbit Slug. Oh, jeez. Executive producer Saul Leibowitz says, kapla, bird of prey. like you, I enjoy my chocolate cake with a side of 1,000 milligrams of metformin. I hear ya. I hear ya. Dan Ben says, when I was younger, I was at a train station that was evacuated due to a bomb scare. I was at a school that was evacuated due to a bomb scare. They didn't tell us about it. Pop Culture Curator says, hello there. Hello, Pop Culture Curator. Rabbit Slug says, no, you can't get away. Pop Culture Curator says, Kapla, bird of prey, hope you're doing well. Well enough, Pop Culture Curator. Antiderivative Jill says, hello, listening and driving. Kapla, Antiderivative Jill, great stream today, and thank you for the shout outs in your stream. She did a stream on UFO today, the not UFOs in general, the show UFO. Yes, so thank you. Sean Carter says, hello there, everyone. Hi, Bird. Hello, Sean. Kapla. Thank you for coming. Rabbit Slug says, hey to Curator and to Antiderivative Jill. Dan Ben had a dark chocolate mint bar earlier. Oh, I hate the mint. I love the dark chocolate. I hate the mint. I can't do mint. Mint is in it. It's a deal breaker. A deal breaker. The candies with mints, I wouldn't eat them. Candy commercial. Klondike, like the mint. Mama Pray saying a thin round disc peppermint patties.
Maybe.
I don't know. I would never eat them. I would never eat them. LDG waves. There's LDG. Eastland Burkholder's in the house. Hello, Eastland Burkholder. Kapla. Rabbit Slug reminds people don't text and drive. LDG says she's here in the underground with me, meaning Yvette. Obviously, she's also in the channel stream, so because she could type. Pop Culture Curator says, Bird of Prey, you were at a school during a bomb scare and they didn't tell anyone. What's the fun in that? Well, they didn't. I guess they didn't want to panic us. One time they got us out of the school, but then I also hear there were times they didn't. They didn't get us out. They told us it was a fire drill. Yeah. They told us it was just a fire drill. So when the fire drill happens, we all walk out, and when the whole class stays together, and you go like a block away from the school, and you just stand in front of the house of some schmuck for an hour, and they have like 30 school kids jumping up and down like circus monkeys in front of their house for an hour. This was a particularly long one because it really wasn't a fire drill. We all had to wait while I guess the police and the bomb squad
could take weeks, sir.
Searched the school and finally decided there was no bomb. John Araki with $1 super chat. Thank you so much, John Araki. Kapla. Obviously, later, after years later, when Die Hard 3 came out, the one with what's his face, Samuel L. Jackson, and the bomb is placed in a New York City school, and of course it turned out to not really be a real bomb, but we didn't know it at the time. That made me think of and those same kids, they didn't tell them it was a bomb. They lied to them too. They said it was a fire drill. Apparently, it's okay to lie to kids. That's what I learned. I've learned that in life. It's perfectly okay to lie to kids. Now, if they were 18, then it would be fraud. Okay, if you lied to an adult, that would be illegal, and they could sue you. But if you lie to a kid, that's perfectly reasonable, apparently. Eastland Burkholder says dark chocolate is great. Rabbits like ouchies. Reminder to self, send mints to bird. Mom O'Prey might like them.
What?
Mints. I don't know. I'm certainly not going to eat them. Dan Ben says once the police came to investigate when a teacher had money stolen from her purse. Rabbit Slug says hey to Mom O'Prey. Eastland says texting and
Just
doing
fix that
laundry.
damn thing.
And John Araki with another $1 super chat. Thank you again, John Araki. Mike Richards says dark chocolate has an antioxidant that is good for your heart. Well, I'm glad I have some reason I can use to. I like the dark chocolate M&Ms. Speaking of which, it's been a while since I've had some dark chocolate M&Ms. Now I'm gonna get that feeling again.
Are you telling me you would like some?
Do you have dark chocolate M&Ms still? Oh, Mama Prey always keeps dark chocolate M&Ms on hand, even though it's been 6 months, a year since I've had them. Oh, in the refrigerator. Not at the moment, but thank you. Maybe later. Rabbit's like, does Mama Prey have a tail today? She has a very short one, but a tail nonetheless. Okay. Sure, Mama Prey. Whenever you're ready. Mama Prey is playing Governor of Poker. So. Gorilla says, hey, bird, been lurking. I should get a cookie for not knocking out my supervisor this week. But then again, I still have an hour and a half left. Gorilla. I hope it goes well for you, Gorilla. Keep I would say keep the faith, but keep calm and carry on, as they say across the pond. Gorilla says you only have one bomb threat. My freshman year we had 4 in 2 weeks, plus someone putting a thin client computer in a microwave. I'm sure we had more than one, but I remember the one because Mama Prey was president of the PTA, and she knew what it was. That's why I knew what it was, but I also knew they didn't tell us what it was. I had to get my info through Mama Prey. Rabbit Slugs is mostly peaceful bombings. Are you ready, Mama Prey?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a very short tale from Mama
Yeah.
Prey. The camera is off and you're ready.
Have to say hello to everyone first. Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's having a decent day. I won't say great day, but that would be nice. Anyway, all this talk about bombs reminds me, I have a relative who climbed pretty high up in the corporate ladder. And that's basically all I can say. But she had just recently got a promotion and a bomb threat came in. So I don't know exactly how she heard about the bomb threat, where a receptionist, whoever got the phone call. So she said, oh, okay, I'll just call upstairs to find out what to do. And then she said, oh, shit, I am upstairs. I've got to make this decision. He calls back, evacuate the building. And this was no 2-story building. But I guess, you always think, oh, there's someone else above you that could make the decision. And luckily, sometimes you're to the point where, no, you're the one that has to make the decision. But anyway.
I don't know, evacuating an entire building.
Yeah, it was. But
I probably would have just left to get lunch and hope for the best.
Yeah, well, as it turned out, there was no bomb. Everybody got like an hour or two out of the building and then came back, and no harm done, except for, like I guess a low productivity day. But other than that, that's what reminds me. And yes, we did have a couple of bomb threats in the schools. Again, luckily, there were no bombs. Of course, after Bert O'Prey had graduated the elementary school, they did come in, the cops, in force, went to the basement and confiscated many guns and ammunition.
The janitor was a saint.
He was such a nice guy. But he kept all this stuff in the school basement.
It's because he lived in the basement. He didn't have a home. He was homeless.
I know. But a nice guy. And later on, after we were away from that school for years, and I opened a business in a neighborhood where I should never have been. And then I got robbed at gunpoint. And in trying to, I was standing on the street corner, just standing. And that same janitor, what was this, 20 years later, comes down the street, which is in nowhere near, what was it, 20 miles away at least? 10? Well,
for New York City, your 10-mile difference is night and day. I mean, from the highest buildings near Central Park to, the ghettoist parts of the city is less than 5 miles. So 10 miles, you could be in a different planet.
Well, yes, it seemed like a different planet. And I was just standing on the corner at my wit's end. And here he pulls up in a van. And he calls me by, he said, Mom O'Prey. Yes, of course, he called me that. No. And I said, Tommy, what are you doing here? He says, oh, I have a lot of friends down here. He says, there's some girls up the block that are, troubled. I help them out. I make sure that they eat and this and that. Like I said, he really was a nice guy. And he says, what are you doing here? I said, well, this pointed behind me. I said, this is my store, but it's recently been robbed and I'm hearing all sorts of things. He says, no problem. I'm like the mayor around here. I'll find out who did it. And about a month later, he came back and told me who did it. Anyway, how'd I get off the bomb story? Because yeah, the school bombs. So we've had, some of the people that you think are the most dangerous may not be. And some that you think are the nicest may be the most dangerous. Other than that, everyone have a good weekend. I'm going to shut up now and go find a piece of chocolate cake that I don't have.
Thank you, Barbara.
You're welcome. Bye, everybody.
Okay. We're back. Rabbit's like Ouchie says he got the bird. He didn't get the bird from me. Rabbits like Ouchie says, ah, so sweet. Mike Richards is a bird, even. Rabbits like says, bird, give me the bird. Fake news. And Eastland Burglar can relate with gorilla. Sorry about your supervisors. Rabbits like Ouchies has to Geloja. He'll be right back. Donnie Pearson, Kapla Donnie, says, hello, bird and all. Happy National Chocolate Cake Day. I hope everyone is well this afternoon. This is among the live streams I'm watching on YouTube right now. So it sounds like you're watching multiple live streams. That's fine, Donnie. Thank you for hanging out here for at least a bit. It all helps. Another view all counts. John DeMarco says, hey to Mamo Pray, as does Sean Carter. Donnie Pearson says, hello to Dan. I do remember that heartbreaking news story. I missed Princess Diana and Queen Elizabeth II. Yvette says hello to Mamo Pray, as does Donnie. The Time Traveler says, greetings, birds, salty turds, and nerds. Greetings, traveler. Yeah, soon they're not going to be salty turds anymore. Salty Tracker has officially started his new channel, Onyx and Zircon. And unfortunately, if you had ever got the link from me, I probably sent you the wrong link because Salty sent me the wrong link. Salty said the link was to the channel by Ebony Mom. He since deleted that channel, and there's a whole different Onyx and Zircon channel. I don't have the link offhand anymore. If you go to antitracker.com, it is still available there for the next few months while antitracker.com is still up. Eventually, antitracker.com will go away, but for the moment, it's still available and the link is there if anyone needs it. Just a heads up. Dan Ben says, in the UK, you can buy a packet of mixed chocolate cake by Betty Crocker, and separately you can buy a tub of frosting. Yes, that is the same here. Captain Phantom Nurse is a traveler. Hi, how come? Oh, I missed some. I missed quite a few. Rabbit Slug says, yay, tail time. The Traveler says, hey to Sluggy. Rabbit Slug says he believes in the Second Amendment. And so did the custodian, Tommy. Now, the problem with Tommy was that Tommy appeared to be a Vietnam veteran. And understand this is the early 1980s. So like Rambo. John Rambo. Rambo First Blood had just come out or was still a new movie. Rambo 2, was maybe it was Rambo 2. But the point is, there were a lot of Vietnam veterans around, and a lot of them clearly had mental issues. And, you gave them a wide berth because it was from the war. You felt bad for them to a point. They needed help. We didn't have even as good a system as we have today. And we have a shitty system today, but it was even worse then. And so, if you had somebody who was actually working and he was great with kids, I mean, he was a Boy Scout leader, kind of. He wasn't actually the Boy Scouts. He had his own version of the Boy Scouts, where you take neighborhood kids walking through the jungle, the Gateway National Recreational Area. But at the time, it was just a bunch of fucking weeds. along the shore, and he would teach them. I don't know what he would teach them because I didn't go because I wasn't one of those troubled kids. But I assume he'd teach them how to fucking, I don't know, hotwire cars or whatever. I don't know what he would teach them, but he would teach them life things you needed to know if you were going to be in that situation. It's stuff you need to know. And well, as it turned out, later on, we'd learn out that he actually wasn't a Vietnam vet at all. He was just a crazy guy. He had never made it to Vietnam because they said, nope, couldn't pass the psych eval or whatever. Never got to go. I guess he wanted to go. He dressed the part. You certainly would have thought he was a Vietnam vet, but not actually a Vietnam vet. And yeah, and then the schools kind of didn't like the fact that he was a homeless guy living in the basement of an elementary school, and certainly didn't like the fact that he had weapons. Now, as a Second Amendment person, I do feel that if the school was his primary residence, he should have a right to defend himself. What'd you say?
The school was not listed.
The school wasn't listed as his primary residence, but it was.
Yeah.
That's just paperwork. Everybody knew he was living there. Anyway, yeah, it was unfortunate. The changing of the times. We were going from the innocent 80s to the politically correct 90s, and his kind had to be tossed out. It was very sad. The Traveler says, I'm honestly sad to hear Cinnabon won't be doing anymore. And that was a very unfortunate timing. For this is a holy time. Donated $1.49. Paktem for Betatne. I'll get into that in just a second. Yeah, so Cinnabon, if anybody was awake last night, Cinnabon streamed last night to what he said was his final stream on the Cinnabon Bunny channel. For those who don't know, Cinnabon is moving. He had his stuff packed up, and this was his last stream in his current house. And he said it'd take a few weeks before he gets his stuff set up again. And the good thing, though, is that if you watch his whole stream, he did say that it would be very possible that he would start a new channel. Okay, so that's the thing, Traveler. It was the last stream, according to him, on Cinnabon Bunny channel. But he did say that he would likely start a new channel once he gets set up to stream again, where he would make it just about opening cards. Because his current channel, he said that he's done, and he's used it. He's used it for chats. He's used it for video game playing. He's used it for playing poker. He's used it for opening trading card packs, and he's used it for his brief career doing storage units, amongst other things that I'm probably forgetting. So he's had like 5 or 6 different things on his channel. And that the problem with it, and I am completely guilty of this myself, the YouTube algorithm doesn't adjust. The YouTube algorithm likes to know that your channel is good at one thing. Okay? you're a video game channel, you're a storage unit channel, you're a live stream channel, and you're a Star Trek channel that does reviews. You're one of the other, or the other, or the other. They don't like a channel like mine that I just says, fuck you, I'm the Birdo Prey 5 channel, and I'll put out what I want. Huh. Well, that's good for me in a way. It's not good for the member count. It's not good for the subscriber numbers, and it's not good for the watch hours. So Cinnabon does realize this, and he realized that, hey, if he really wants to, you know, have a channel that has a significant chance of growing and perhaps, you know, in time, even becoming popular in the field of opening trading cards, then he needs to make a channel dedicated to just opening trading cards. And to be honest, that's exactly what he needs to do if that's what he wants. So that's what he said he would. I don't know if he said probably, but he would more than likely, the way he made it seem, when he's ready to stream again, create a new channel that's just about the trading cards. And of course, he could always have a second channel if he wants one for other things. And I told him myself, I was like, well, there's really no reason you have to abandon the Cinnabon Bunny channel, but I understand if he wants to just make a fresh start. I get it. So obviously, we all wish Cinnabon the best of luck, whatever he chooses. But he has his reasons, and frankly, he's right. It is not a good idea to have a channel and post 5 different types of videos. I myself have been seriously considering the idea of separating my content amongst the 2 channels, Birdo Prey 5 and Birdo Prey 5X. Yeah, every time I try to think it out, I come up with a problem, and then I say, fuck it. Let's just keep going as we're going. But the time is going to come, the day is going to come. I'm going to have to make a serious decision as to if I want to keep growing or if I just want to be happy with what we've got and let it be, let things be what they are. So, but I obviously I wish Cinnabon the best, whatever he chooses. Rabbit Slug says thanks to Mamo Prey, as does Gorilla's Random Thoughts. Dan Ben says in the UK you can buy a pack. I read that. That's we skipped. Moxley fan is back. Kapla again. Moxley. Pop Culture Curator asked people to hit the like. Thank you, Pop Culture Curator. Rabbit Slug says sounds like a dumpster fire to him. Miss Lundell says Onyx and Zircon sounds like a ripoff of Sapphire and Steel. I don't know what Sapphire and Steel are. I know what they are. I don't know what the combination of them are. Yvette says Salty News Channel reminds me of Sapphire and Steel TV show. Okay. Well, I guess that's I've never heard of the Sapphire and Steel TV show. And Yvette says Jinx to Mr. Lundell. Moxley fan, I missed the intro. We, the people. It's okay, Moxley, just for you. We, the people. Salt and pepper would have been simpler, says Mike Richards. I agree. He didn't ask me for advice. He did not ask me. Rabbit Slug Ouchie says yay to Rambo. Rabbit Slug says, I'm mental. I could own a gun. Richie Poole has returned. Kapla, Richie. Rabbit Slug up to 29 watchers. Nice for 30 now, says Rabbit Slug. Now, down to 26. I guess people like hearing about bombs in schools. I don't know. What is Bird going on about now? I have no idea, Richie. Rabbit Slug says, I have a CCR song in my brain now. Stolen Valor type, says Mr. Londell. I don't really think he was going for the stolen valor. I gotta understand, the man wasn't mentally there. He had a known issue. He wanted to be there, which I guess is already a sign of something's not right. It's not like he, saw Pearl Harbor and, felt patriotism and felt compelled to join the military. I just think that he realized that it was probably the only way he was going to get anywhere in life, and they were like, no, thank you. He never claimed to actually say he was in the military, but he wore, what are those fatigues? The what camouflage? Camouflage. He wore camouflage, the green camouflage, and so you always just assumed he was. I don't ever recall him actually ever saying that he was there, or that he was. But I was a small child. Miss Lundell says there was nothing innocent about the 80s. Believe me, I lived it. Rabbit Slug says Zoidberg has crabs. Actually, he does. Antidote Jill says frack the algorithm. This is just a hobby. Anyway, yes, Antidote Jill. I get that. I really do. But, sometimes it's fun when the hobby grows. And, it would be nice if more people had the opportunity to see the wisdom and the light that is Karoga. So, am I doing society a disservice by not growing the channel? I've got to balance these things. Rabbit Slug says Bird puts out ? It depends on for who. Not for you, Kronos. Not for you. Mike Richards says poo tube shenanigans. John DeMarco says, and it's not good for the whales. Richie Poole says, is an FU channel. Birdo Prey 5 is an FU channel. Dan Van says, Kirk, and in the storage compartments, Cisco, storage compartments, Kirk, have him meet us near the storage compartments. Storage compartments? Is that trials and tribulations? Rabbits like Ouchie says, hey, whatever works for peeps. He's not a fan of change. Neither am I. Let's face it. I am not a fan of change. I'm the guy who has the same picture on his computer background now for going on 8 years. When I find the breakfast I like, I'll have it every day in a row for 6 months, a year, 2 sometimes. Then I'll switch back to what I had before, right? It's either scrambled eggs or sunny side. Only recently I've been over easy. And we're coming up on easily 2 or 3 months of over easy. Yep. And but there's no point in changing. Once you find something you like, you go with it. And honestly, that's something I had in common with Mr. Frank, Sidney Frank, who was my boss. When he liked breakfast, that would be it. He would just tell his chefs, that's what he wants for breakfast every day. When we got to London and he found a restaurant he liked, the second day there, he said he wants this for lunch every day. Now, granted, he still wanted to go out and to other restaurants, but his chefs had to go out and get the food from that restaurant that he liked and have it available even at another restaurant in case he didn't like what that other restaurant had. And breakfast every day. When there was a shortage of, I forget, what was it? Mangoes. There was a mango shortage in New York or California, wherever, one time. And he gave all his employees extra cash. Yeah, I think it was New York. He gave everybody some extra cash. And the order, buy all the mangoes. Buy all the mangoes. And what do you do when a billionaire gives you unlimited budget to buy all the mangoes? You do it. So many mangoes got thrown out. So many mangoes. He had vice presidents of the company going to supermarkets, loading up mangoes in their SUVs. I'm sure he was responsible for the mango shortage that he was afraid of. When the gas in the 70s, when the gas shortage happened, he had a gas tank put in to his home. It dug in under the garage of his home, an actual gas station sized gas tank and a gas pump, so that he could supply gas to his own salespeople. So during the gas shortage, his salespeople could still drive. And everybody was telling him this is going to be a problem because the day is going to come when you're going to sell your house and you're not going to be able to because there's this unlicensed gas tank on your property. And it's going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to clean up. He showed them. He lived there till he died. Wasn't his. They sold that house for millions. And then the 2008 whatever hit, and the developer who bought the land went out of business, and his house remained unopened, unsold, undeveloped for a decade after he died. After I'd gotten sick and was in this hospital bed, his house had still yet to be demolished. Nobody gave a shit about the gas tank at that point. And nobody gave a shit about the greenhouse that I had put up that didn't get any permits. Because I knew at the time it didn't need to last forever. It only needed to outlast Mr. Frank. And I didn't think it would, unfortunately. I thought it would go. I mean, let's put it this way: the greenhouse lasted that whole other 10 years after he died, so it was perfectly fine. Permits or not, but yeah. This is the thing: things don't always have to last forever; they just have to last long enough. So yeah. Oh, fan of change. Yeah. When I find a breakfast I like, I stick with it. Find that I like mangoes, or my boss likes mangoes, buy all the mangoes.
And when I find a chocolate cake I like.
What Mom Mopre finds a chocolate cake she likes, she sticks with it too. Rabbit's like, it's time to make some strange changes. No. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Donnie Pearson says, a couple of years ago, I decided not to judge those who dislike current eras of Doctor Who, Star Wars, Star Trek, DC, Marvel, etc. A couple of years since I've decided not to judge those. Richie Poole said, did Mamo Pray tell a Mamo Pray tale? Yes, she did, a short one, Richie. It had to do with school bomb threats. And business bombs threats. Well, not bomb threats, but threats. And Rabbit Slug says, yes, she did. Yes, you missed it, Richie. But you can always go back and listen. Sapphire and Steel is an old sci-fi program. British actress Joanna Lumley, I think, says Dan Ben. And Miss Londell puts in a link to Sapphire and Steel episode 1. Thank you, guys. Miss Londell says it's called a battle dress. The uniform. Todd Jenny, Kapla Todd Jenny, aka T Berg, says, hail Karoga Joe, alpacans assemble. Kapla. Dan Ben says you can wear Army NASA type clothing and not be from there. This is true. Donnie Pearson says, Rabbit Slugs, I'm a Mighty Morphin, like a Power Ranger. Thank you. Rabbit Slug Ouchies is asking about AOC. I haven't seen her in a while, Rabbit. Pop Culture Curator says, so would it be better to make multiple channels, one for each different topic? Honestly, Pop Culture Curator, if you want to play video games, have live streams, and put out Star Trek reviews, yes, you'd be best to have at least 2, if not 3 different channels. Technically, absolutely. Rabbit Slugs says, Bird, you know you want to push AOC off the bed. Well, probably not right away, but eventually. Stan Lee says, do you dip in your yolk? Of course. Especially on the over easy, I cut it with the fork. I dip in some bread. I enjoy that. And then I cut up the rest of the egg, mix it in with the yolk, and eat what's left. Stanley says, our Sunday hangover breakfast at work was always Scottish square sausage on a bun with lots of brown sauce. Oh. Richie Pools, his bird of prey, likes a scrambled omelet. Don't get me started. There's no such thing as a scrambled omelet. Dan Van says, reminds me of the Deep Space Nine. Rom eats different food. That's right. The episode where Quark gives him what he always wants. He's breakfast. He wants the breakfast of, Miles breakfast. Or the morning shift. The day shift. The day shift. Mike Richards is The Philosophy of Bird, now only $9.99. Now it's free. Apparently I give it away for free. Rabbit Slugs likes dried mangoes. Jeeps even. Well, if he was a Jeep fan, I'm sure he would say buy all the Jeeps. Richie Poole says, the great mango shortage. Who doesn't remember that trying time in American history? Todd Jenny says, that's how you dance the Karogan mango. Cha-cha kapla. Todd Jenny says, hey Slug, do I know you? That's Kronos. Richie Poole says, I think Bird of Prey single-handedly caused the recent toilet paper shortage. No, although we did make sure we had a supply. It was well over a year. Mama Prey, in fact, Mama Prey made the announcement on this stream sometime last year that officially finished the toilet paper ordered pre-pandemic.
It was actually only about
4 months ago.
that I needed to, like,
She had to buy toilet paper for the first time since the pandemic. Rabbit Slug says, yeah, he was too lazy to switch back to Kronos. Todd Jenny says, this is a very frank discussion. The guy is a real hot dog. Now I know where those Dear Bop lame jokes come from. Todd Jenny says, I made a new poster. Eat at Karoga Joe's. Rabbit Slug says, Mama Prey likes chocolate. Yes, Kronos, I'm sure you know Mama Prey likes chocolate. Gap After Dark says, the stream will probably be over by the time Bird reads this. Hello, everyone. Hello, Gap. Obviously, it's not over. Rabbit Slug says, he has a nice Latina booty. AOC, yes, she does. Richie Poole says, but if I go back and listen to the Mama Prey tale, I will miss what you're saying now. What a conundrum. Go listen on 2x speed and you'll catch back up. Rabbit Slug says, it's Friday, 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 not Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Dan Ben does not like the brown sauce. Rabbit Slug Outie says, wow, Bird gives it away for free. I do. You don't want to know. Any type of English sausage, you don't want to know. If you look it up, it's disgusting meats. Miss Lundell says, that whole run on toilet paper was hilarious. My local store never ran out of toilet paper during the so-called pandemic. Well, good for you, because ours did, but that's fine. That's fine. Let's head on over to the web browser. What do we got for today? January 27th. It's International Holocaust Remembrance Day, which is kind of depressing, but that has 9,000 shares. National Chocolate Cake Day has 19,000 shares. So is it fair to say that chocolate cake is twice as popular as the Holocaust? Pretty much. Layered molten bund fluffy mousse. Moussey, decadent, frosted. It's love at first bite. It's also National Fun at Work Day. From parties, potlucks, goodies, games, awards, and more, there's no wrong way to celebrate. So I hear Facebook and all the big tech companies are kind of rolling back a lot of the changes they made during the pandemic. Facebook is going to actually limit sick time again. You can't get unlimited sick time. you might have to actually go into the office again. And, this is a lot of people are complaining. I get it. It's hard to go back to work once they made so many changes to let people stay at home, and whatnot. But I'll be honest, when I was working, I was surprised how much fun I would have in any given day of work. I realized it was because I had a job unlike anyone else there, but yeah, I would just half of my day I would walk around and see what other people were up to. Mike Richards says that does not sound right. That chocolate cake is more popular. Well, it is. I mean, why wouldn't it be? Rabbit Slug says Mama Pray would like chocolate cake day. She does. She does. It's also Auschwitz Liberation Day. So that's why it's Holocaust Remembrance Day, I guess. I assume today was the day it was liberated. It's Big Garden Bird Watch. Big Garden Bird Watch, not only recreational, it also keeps track of the bird population. So by watching this stream right now, you're taking part in the Big Garden Bird Watch, I guess. It's also Holocaust Memorial Day. So out of 6 days, already 3 of them are Holocaust related. National Activity Professionals Day. The National Activity Professionals Day. Let's shower these superheroes with our love and appreciation. What the hell is an activity profession? What is an activity professional? I'm not even going to click it because I don't care. National Big Wig Day. Not big wigs, but actual wigs. Get ready to celebrate one of the biggest God damn it, I can't read. Mama Pray, didn't you send me to school? I can't read.
I did send you to school.
I'm not hooked on phonics.
And you were very good at reading. What happened?
Biggest philanthropic gestures in history. National Big Wig Day. It's also National Geographic Day. Come and celebrate with us because there's nothing like National Geographic. Are we right? Back in the day, I used to read National Geographic, but I was a little kid and they had adult pictures. And I didn't really like to see the adult pictures that they had because, there's this joke that, if you can't get Playboy, National Geographic is the next best thing. No, it's not. Okay. That is not the naked I want to see. I'd rather have like a lingerie catalog where they're not naked. That is far more attractive than the naked you get in National Geographic. My actual favorite magazine was Popular Science. Actually, it was Popular Mechanics, then Popular Science. And then Electronic Gaming Monthly, EGM. It's also National Preschool Health and Fitness Day. Got another feeling like today's about physical activity. It's Punch the Clock Day. Trust us, celebrating Punch the Clock Day is not a waste of time. It seems like another business day. And finally, oh, excuse me, it's not finally. It's also Thomas Crapper Day. Don't let all his work go down the crapper. Celebrate Thomas Crapper Day with us. Yes, the inventor of the toilet, or at least what we call the modern toilet, was Thomas Crapper. He's the one who just found that you put a tank of water above a bowl and have it flush your stuff away. Not Thomas Potts, Thomas Crapper. It's Vietnam. No, I don't believe there's any relation to anti-tracker. Mama pray. Oh, completely unrelated and unknown. Today is Vietnam Peace Day. Join us as we explore important history on this Vietnam Peace Day. And finally, World Breast Pumping Day. Let's all encourage moms to provide healthy nutrition for the little tots the easy way. Apparently, breast pumping is the easy way to provide nutrition to little ones. I would thought that making a bottle is easier, and certainly easier would to just have the baby feed directly off the breast rather than pumping it out. But who am I to argue with a breast pump manufacturer? I don't know. Dan Ben didn't hear anything on the news about Holocaust Day. When is National Merkin Day? Asked Rabbit Slug. Rabbit Slug says, read Birdo Prey 5. Reggie Pool says, you can send Birdo Prey 5 to school, but you can't make him learn to read. Gap After Dark says, I thought your favorite magazine was Karoga Lingerie Light. Rabbit Slug says, I would like to punch a bird day. I don't believe that that's a day. And Rabbit Slug says, breast pumping day, yes. Rabbit Slug says, num nummies. No, there's no bird breastfeeding day. God damn it. God damn it. Let's see, what's in the news? Anything? 5 officers. Oh, that was terrible. That was terrible, and I can't talk about it. What do we got? Oh, the hammer attack video. The Paul Pelosi hammer attack video was released today. I suggest you watch it when you get a chance. It's disturbing. It is disturbing, but it's really weird. It's really weird. First off, 2 cops respond to the house, and before anybody opens the door, the cops are talking like they're almost joking. Like, I think they're joking like, is this really Nancy Pelosi's house or whatever? I don't know. I'm just assuming. But it's like, I don't think they know where they really are, or they're not 100% sure. And one cop says the wrong address and whatever. But they knock on the door, they ring the doorbell. Like, if you just got a call saying like, emergency, come quickly, there's a guy with a hammer trying to kill me, you would think you might not knock on the door. But they do. And sure enough, Paul Pelosi and the guy with the hammer, and Paul Pelosi is holding a cocktail in one hand and the hammer and the guy with the hammer in the other. And somebody opens the door for the police, It's not immediately clear who opened the door for the police. I assume it was the guy with the hammer. And they just stand there for like 2 minutes, not 2 minutes, 10 seconds. And the cops are like, so what's going on here? And like, it almost looks like Paul Pelosi is smiling. But then all of a sudden, the guy starts beating him with the hammer. And the police are like, holy shit, and like jump on him. And then they call it in and whatever. And then Paul Pelosi is laying on the floor, like virtually not moving. Like how in 2 seconds he went from being perfectly fine, standing with a drink in his hand, to being severely beaten and barely conscious. And the police are, and this guy with the hammer, he was a big dude. I mean, not as big as me, but pretty big. And he's got plumber's butt, so you don't want to watch too closely. But yeah, it takes both officers to keep the guy down, and they've got to call for backup, and they've got to call for, and then they call for an ambulance or whatever, and they're like, are you're calling for an ambulance? Yeah. We need medical, whatever they said. And it was just how quickly the situation went from seemingly stable to completely crazy. And I don't know, it just it doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know. A lot of questions. A lot more questions than answers after the footage is released. What do we got? Anything sci-fi related? Also, I saw Egotastic Fun Time recommended on Hulu, a show called Extraordinary. So I took a look at it. Yes, it is as woke as shows come. I mean, they checked all the diversity boxes. It couldn't be more woke in terms of casting. In terms of writing, it's also pretty up there. I mean, it's about a 20-something-year-old girl. Again, the first episode, you hear about how great and how special everybody is. And then the second episode, the entire second episode shouldn't happen. From what we learned in the first episode, okay, so without revealing spoilers, the concept behind Extraordinary is that in this timeline, for the first time about 10, okay, everything happened like it happened in our history. It's the same history. But then about 10 years ago, all of a sudden, all the humans on the planet started getting special superpowers. And kids didn't get superpowers. But when kids became 18 years old, then they found their superpower. It would usually happen the day of their 18th birthday, but for some, it would come a few days early or a few days late. You know, for some, maybe a week late, maybe a month late. In rare instances, maybe a year late. Anyway, for the main character, she's 25, and has yet to find her superpower. Now, it could be that she doesn't have one, or it could be that her superpower is just so obscure she doesn't know what it is yet. And understand, okay, if your superpower is invisibility, obviously the day you become invisible, you're going to know it. If your superpower is you can fly and you jump out a window, or you jump off a table and you fly, you're gonna know about it. But until you try, you don't know that you can fly. Right? If your superpower is super strength, you're not going to know you're super strong until you try to lift something, or you shake someone's hand and they're unfortunate and you break all the bones in their hand. You don't know. So that's part of the lore of this. You've got to figure out what is your superpower. So one of their superpowers of the main cast is the ability to reverse time. Not very long, maybe an hour or 2 hours. I don't know what the actual time limit is, but it's certainly more than 5 minutes. Okay. Anyway, the entire second episode's premise is based upon the fact that his car gets towed, and his car was towed 5 minutes. And he was watching. He was outside. He turns his head, and his car gets towed in like the 5 minutes that his head is turned. And he turns back, and his car is gone. So then the entire 30-minute episode, or maybe 20 minutes of the 30-minute episode, is trying to get the car back for reasons. But he could have just reversed time 5 minutes and not, watched the car be towed away as it was reversed, and simply not park the car or go out and move the car, be in the car, anything else, so the car doesn't get towed. Completely 100% takes me out of the story. I mean, it ruins the entire episode. But I kept watching. I'm up to episode 3. There's only 8 episodes for this season. They're about half-hour episodes. And I know I don't need another superhero show, right? I need another superhero show like you need another hole in your head. But it's starting to grow on me. I'll be honest. It's starting to grow on me. It is very foul. It is not for children. Do not watch with your kids. It's not as bad as The Boys, but the humor is out there. The humor is out there. I would say it's worth checking out. If you can deal with the diversity and the scripts written by people that clearly, I don't know what happened with that second episode. The second episode, if every episode was the second episode, I wouldn't have watched, and I would be telling you all to stay away. But the first episode and the third episode, they're decent. They're actually decent. And I think that the humor is just what gets me, because I'm okay with it. The other thing, for those, it takes place in the UK. So everybody's got a British accent. So just be aware. It's not a US based show, for those who care. but it's something. It's worth checking out, but I'd say I don't love it. I'll give another heads up after I've watched the entire series. It's certainly no it's certainly no Cobra Kai, and it's certainly not as good as even that 90s show, but it's okay. If you got nothing else, it's worth checking out. Earth's inner core may have stopped turning and could go into reverse, study suggests. I read that and it's just nonsense. It's nonsense. Don't worry about it. It happens every 70 years. And honestly, they don't even know. It didn't happen yesterday. This might have happened months ago. They don't know. They just have to wait for earthquakes to happen, and then they analyze the data. It's just it's a clickbait article. Gizmodo says Amazon warns employees to beware of Chat GPT. That one I'll check out. And Screen Rant says Jonathan Frakes is right about Star Trek's future. Oh, is he? Jonathan Frakes is right about Star Trek's future. As Star Trek thrives on TV, the prospects of its movie franchise are dimming. Even the legendary Jonathan Frakes doubts Star Trek's movie's future. As the prospects of Star Trek movie franchise continue to dim, Jonathan Frakes is sadly right that Star Trek's future will be in television. Of course, Star Trek began on television in 1966. For 57 years, the franchise expanded into nearly a dozen TV series, but there are only 5 that are good. There are 5 Star Trek shows currently streaming on Paramount Plus. There are 0 currently streaming. None. There are no new episodes of any of them. Okay, you say, well, but there are other series that have had episodes. Well, then, yeah, every Star Trek series is streaming. DS9 is streaming. TOS is streaming. There are currently none actually streaming. There aren't 5. And more in development. But Star Trek was also a successful movie franchise for decades before its current drought. In an interview with SFX magazine, hyping his role as an actor and director in Star Trek Picard Season 3, Jonathan Frakes gave his thoughts on Star Trek's current movie franchise plight. Movies are tough. Even J.J. Abrams can't get his 4th movie off the ground. All those wonderful rumors, Noah Hawley was attached to the Star Trek movie, and Quentin was toying with people's emotions about doing a movie. If those 2 names can't get a freaking movie made, I don't know. TV is the future, it seems to me. Frakes summarized the development hell of Star Trek 4 has been mirrored in for the last several years, with big-name talents like J.J. Abrams, Noah Hawley, and Quentin Tarantino's Star Trek movie dreams foiled. 2016 Star Trek Beyond, which was well-liked but underperformed. Well-liked but underperformed was the last Star Trek theatrical release. Well-liked but underperformed is like saying mostly non-violent, fiery protests. It was well-liked but underperformed. Yeah, and this was a mostly nonviolent, fiery protest. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The Star Trek's future is TV, not movies. No. Star Trek has no future. Not right now. Not right now. Sorry to say. Sorry to say. So let's see. Why should Amazon warn employees to beware of ChatGPT? OpenChat's AI, ChatGPT, gave the correct answers to interview questions for a software coding position. ChatGPT has been making the tech industry sweat since its rise in popularity last year, and now Amazon is feeling the heat too. According to internal communications from the company, as viewed by Insider, an Amazon lawyer has urged employees not to share code with the AI chatbot. Insider reported earlier this week that lawyers specifically requested that employees not share any Amazon confidential information, including Amazon code you are working on, with ChatGPT. According to screenshots of Slack messages, the guidance comes after a company reportedly witnessed ChatGPT responses that have mimicked internal Amazon data. Wow, this is important because your inputs may be used as training data for further iterations of ChatGPT, and we wouldn't want its output to include or resemble our confidential information. And Amazon is probably right about ChatGPT obtaining its data, since in a similar story, ChatGPT allegedly answered interview questions correctly for a software coding position at the company. Nice. I was honestly impressed, an employee reportedly wrote. I am both scared and excited to see what impact this will have on our way we conduct coding interviews. Well, make sure you conduct them in person. Anyway. Fact check. Did Nancy Pelosi seek an exorcism at her house after attack on her husband? True. What? Did Nancy Pelosi seek an exorcism at her house? Claim true. This information was provided by Pelosi's daughter to the New York Times. And exorcism is described as a form of prayer against the power of the devil. We reached out to Pelosi's office to learn more about the kind of exorcism that occurred. Okay. I thought for sure that was going to be a fake. I thought for sure that was going to be a fake. Anyway, I'm going to take a pill. We'll come back. We'll do Dear Bops, and we'll go from there. Oh, Wordle. We'll come back. I'm going to do Wordle, then Dear Bops. Be right back.
You're feasting your eyes on the 6-meal cake. Streusel Swirl from Pillsbury. Meal number 1, a fancy feast for your company. Number 2, a yummy dessert for your kids. 3, a breakfast cake to make you forget coffee cake. 4, a lunchbox cake that doesn't all stick to the wrapping. 5, the best break a coffee break ever had. 6, dessert the second night, still firm and fresh. Streusel Swirl, the sensational 6-meal cake.
When that sun breaks out, lift up your head and shout, it's gonna be a great day.
Kellogg's waits for you, that spirit comes shining through, promising you a great day. How could you think of starting this bright new morning without your K-double-L? Oh, it's double good with Kellogg's you'll have.
been making great days for more people for more years with more cereals than anyone. Corn Flakes, Rice Krispies, Frosted Flakes, Product 19. Trust your mornings to Kellogg's.
Very best part of start. Your bright new morning is Kellogg's way. It's not far away. Kellogg's will help you say there's gonna be a great, we're gonna see a great, it's gonna be a great day.
And it's Wordle time. Okay. Welcome back. Let's go with the ever popular Arise. R in the wrong spot. ROUND, round. R in the wrong spot, but O in the right spot. Okay. P-O-R. P-O-R. No. Oh, yeah, R. R is good. Or A-E-I-O-U. Porky. Porky. Let's do that. Okay, we got the R in the right spot and we got a Y. Okay. So let's see, what could be between R and Y? M. M is a good one. What would be then? Wormy? Wormy. Close. It's not M. Wordy. No, it can't be D. D's already been used. D has already been used, and I mistyped. And I mistyped. So what do we have? Worky? No. Can't be K. Could worry. It could be worry. We could have two R's. Yes, there it is. Worry. Okay. Not too bad. 5 tries, but honestly, I really don't feel like I could have done much better given the first word I chose. So not too bad. Porno. No, it's not porno. Anyway, let's head over to Dear Bob. Head over to Dear Bob. Let's see what's in the chat. Richie Pools is Bird of Prey. What is your superpower? I don't have a superpower, though. I don't want to give away because honestly, some of the funniest parts of the show are learning what the superpowers are. But understand, in this world, the superpower could be anything. Anything. I mean, some are useful and some aren't so useful. You know, you've got your fly, you've got your super strength, you've got, you know, the ability to, I mean, there's all types of things. But then there are things that are almost useless. And then there are things that are really more curses than a power. If me, I let's just put it this way, Richie, I would just want the ability to walk, obviously. and I'd be happy. But assuming I was already walking and I had a superpower, I mean, turning back time is a great superpower if you can use it and use it right. But you know, if you can use it right, it kind of ruins everything, because it's like you're never surprised anymore. What's the point? I guess I would probably take invincibility. I mean, I guess that's the best superpower to have, to basically be immortal. I don't know that that's a superpower that anybody has in that universe yet, but you know, you can pretty much do anything at that point. Rabbit's like didn't hate The Boys. No, I like The Boys. Don't get me wrong. I for the most part, I like The Boys. And this isn't as good as The Boys. This isn't as good as The Boys. Oh yes, the Picard season 3 trailer is dropping Sunday during CBS's coverage of the AFC Championship game. Thank you, Donnie. Yeah. Dan Ben did not enjoy the podcast audio. I don't know which podcast we're talking about. Gab After Dark says, Bird, has Paramount Plus contacted you to shill for 5 seasons of Star Trek Discovery for another $50,000? That was a single episode. That was a single episode at $50,000. And no. If they do, I'll take it. Rabid Slug says, what's GPT? Nancy is the devil. Dan Ben says, do you want these AI programs made? They're being made regardless. Anyway. Okay. Dear Bop. Dear Bop, the prophets sing, this is a holy time. Batane, the time of awakening. Return to their dark place from which all life springs. A primal energy charges your blood, an energy of rebirth. The mind awakens and focuses on its task. Pajtam far batani. Pajtam far batani. So this is from LDG. And honestly, this is from an episode of Voyager. Season 7, episode 4. I believe it's called Repression. The interesting thing about this episode of Voyager is that despite the fact that I thought I've watched all of Voyager several times over the years, I have zero recollection of ever seeing this episode. And it was a pretty decent episode. There is no way I would have forgotten it. Somehow, I missed this episode of Voyager. And thanks to LDG, I watched it for the first time in my life yesterday or the day before, but very recently. Holy shit. There was a new episode of Voyager for me. There was a new episode of Voyager for me. I'm so fucking privileged. Now, granted, Voyager was my least favorite of the original 5 tracks, but god damn it, it was still an original of the 5 tracks. It was worth watching. And that particular episode, very much worth rewatching or watching for the first time, whatever it was. So I had to give a big thanks. Now, I watched the episode before it a number of times, and I watched the episode after it a number of times. I don't know how I missed this episode, but it has a Bajoran in it. Like, why the hell would there be a Bajoran on Voyager? The plot doesn't make the most sense, but it's still a good episode. Dear Bob, Cinnabon posted he is closing his channel. Don't let this happen. Use your power as God Emperor and force him to keep making videos. Hail Karoga, 207-ish. Well, it's not Yosef. He's 205. Yes, Cinnabon did mention he was ending the channel. He posted this 18 hours ago. That's all, folks. Thank you to everyone who came to hang out for my final stream tonight. While there will be no more new content posted, this channel will remain as an archive. Take care, everyone. And a picture of the bunny. Guys, if you're out there, why don't you go ahead and post over there and tell Cinnabon that you want to see him come back. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We don't have to make it easy for him to leave the channel. But we do wish him the best of luck. And you know, if he was a Karogan citizen, I could possibly force it, but he is a free citizen of Bunnyland, so I do not have the ability to force him to work on the channel. Dan Ben says, Bird, yeah, when I was younger, I missed whatever episode came after Caretaker Part 2. And for a few years, I watched it for the first time. I've seen the one that came before. Yeah, there was some original TOS episodes I hadn't seen until like 5 years ago. But I honestly couldn't imagine that a Voyager episode snuck through. Dear Bob, what's with all the hoopla about oxygen-free copper? I mean, heck, copper is copper, right? You dig it out of the ground, smelt it to remove impurities, then turn it into wire so houses can have electricity and use the rest in electronic. What's the big deal? I have never heard anything about oxygen-free copper. Copper is copper. That is correct. I mean, if there's oxygen in the copper, then you don't have copper. You've got oxygen, copper. I mean, there's oxygen in the air. There's always going to be oxygen. Dear Bob, what does... Nope. Dear Bob, thanks, Bird, listening while moving. Writing here since it's too long to put in the chat. The truth is, YouTube is the last thing I should be focusing on. I won't get into detail. Some of you already know, but life right now is not good. I made many mistakes and some poor decisions over the last 2 years and was way too slow to react and make changes necessary. I was in denial and kept telling myself, it's not that bad and I'll work on it tomorrow. Unfortunately, I ran out of tomorrows, and now this is not an exaggeration. I'm on the edge of losing everything I've worked for. I thank everyone that supported my channel over the last few years, but right now my total focus must be solely on getting my shit back together. Anyway, I need to get back to work. Have a good night and stream. Talk to you guys later. Cinnabon. Cinnabon, if there's anything you need, you know where to find us. Dear Bop, and a link to an image. The previous page is sending you, yes. Used up porno. Yeah. Okay. Dear Bop, time is time, time after time. And dear Bop, no, no, no. Okay. No. Anyway, I think that's gonna be it for today, guys. I think that's gonna be it for today. Thank you all for hanging out. I appreciate it. You give us guys somebody to talk to for a while. I'm working on some stuff. I think it's going to be pretty funny. I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get it out. I started working with the AI voice. I tried to make a voice that sounded like Dr. McCoy, and I tested it out on Deej's stream this morning, and it turned out it sounded very much like LDG. Completely by accident. Completely by accident. Clearly, I've still got a lot to learn about making AI voices. So I still gonna pursue AI voices, but I guess in the shorter term, I'm gonna have to do this video with just my own voice playing the parts of several characters, and whatever crappy, very crappy accents I can give them. So just a heads up. I hope you you use a little imagination when you see it, and you'll know it when you see it. You'll know it when you see it. Rabbit's Link says, "What's a Deej?" Deej is the guy who tends to stream at like 5 a.m. Eastern lately. 5 days in a row, he's been streaming at like 5 a.m. Eastern. So check it out if you haven't. I don't know he's going to be there tomorrow, but he's been there before. Donnie Pearson says, "Thank you, Bert and all. Have a great weekend, everyone. I shall see some of you guys again later this evening." That's right. It's Friday, so Salty will probably go live in a couple hours, probably on both of his channels, Salty Tracker and Onyx and Zircon. And other people will be streaming. Nerdrotic probably is already streaming. Doomcock will be streaming Friday Night Frolics. And you can always hang out in the underground at freethenet.org/underground. I'll probably head over there after I eat a little. And yes, Rabbit Slug, there has always been a bunny land. But they're doing their borders are closed for the moment as they take care of some domestic issues. Yeah. Kapla all bird out. Oh, and it's Friday. What a way to end a week. Oh, with some of that beautiful, sensual kissing Dax, lip locking, the kind of kissing that makes a teenager wonder, what is it like to kiss another woman? And the sad realization, he can never, never, never really find out. But kissing two women at once would be a pretty close approximation.